The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to TechGig webinar series, our endeavor to empower techies. We believe that sharing of knowledge is the key to enhance our skills and grow us as professionals. With this principle in mind, we have initiated a series of webinars conducted by industry experts to give you all a crisp insight of various domains. The topic of today's session is Opportunities on Windows. It's your time to shine. Our guest speaker today is Mark D'Souza. He's the Director, Audience Marketing at Microsoft Corporation India Private Limited. Mark D'Souza is Director, Audience Marketing at Microsoft and focuses on enabling the software developer community in India, especially on Windows 8 and Windows Phone platforms. He has over 17 years of IT experience and, in a prior role, managed a portfolio of IT applications as Group Program Manager at the Business Intelligence Center of Excellence, Microsoft IT. In 2002, Mark was selected as one of the initial Microsoft MVPs, Most Valuable Professional from India, for his contribution to the local technical communities. Prior to Microsoft, Mark worked with Sagacious Technologies and CDAC. So, without further delay, I introduce you all to our guest speaker. Over to you, Mark.
Thanks, Aradhana. Can you hear me?
Voice is audible. You can please continue.
Aradhana, can you hear me?
Yes, Mark, your voice is audible. You can continue.
All right. Thanks for the introduction and welcome to everyone who's joined in for today's webinar. Hopefully some of you have already attended last week's webinar and have some context about what I'm going to be talking today. But for those of you for whom this is the first time you're listening to a webinar on Windows, welcome to you also, and we'll try and cover some of the content that we covered from last week. But essentially today's session was focusing primarily on opportunities on Windows that are available to both small organizations as well as individual developers. And I'll touch upon both aspects, both from an organizational aspect as well as from an individual developer aspect. I also want to highlight the fact that you can also reach out to us through multiple channels. You'll notice on the slide at the bottom left-hand corner, we're accessible on Facebook, on Twitter, and also on TechGig. We have a company page through which you can keep up to date with all the various happenings that we do within India. So moving forward, let's get directly into today's session. Last week I covered about how you as an app builder or a solution builder can leverage great device experiences for your own solutions and power those solutions and services through the power of the cloud. Today what we're going to cover is opportunities that exist for an independent software developer or an ISV, independent software vendor or an ISV, as well as opportunities that exist for individual software developers or freelancers on Windows. We'll talk also a little bit about how you can ramp up on your skill set with respect to developing solutions and applications on Windows and what self-paced learning opportunities exist. What kind of local support is available within India for you and how you can reach out to us whenever you need the appropriate assistance. And also we'll spend some time talking about how you can find stimulus to build the next innovative solution, because this is one common question that I get asked whenever I talk to both companies as well as individuals, is about what potential ideas might actually work in the marketplace. And I know that many of you struggle with that in terms of determining what the next big thing could be. And we'll endeavor to talk a little bit about some areas in which you can take inspiration from when it comes to building the next innovative solution. And of course, this is by no means exhaustive, because I'm sure many of you might have creative ideas of your own. But for those of you who are trying to find inspiration about what that next innovative solution will be, we'll spend a little bit of time talking about that also. One of the other things that we'll do differently in today's webinar compared to last week's webinar is that last week I had a lot of content that I needed to cover, and consequently we had only about 5 minutes of time available at the end of the webinar for questions. So there were a lot of questions that could not be answered during the webinar, but we will get down to responding to them over email over a period of time. Today I want to spend a little bit more time answering questions. So we'll probably finish off the content of this webinar in about 40 to 45 minutes so that we have at least about 15 minutes or so available to answer your questions. So the first thing we'll touch upon is this